These men, women, and children in Gaza had come to collect water. Then came an Israeli army missile strike. It killed at least 10 Palestinians. Most of them were children. More than a dozen others were wounded. It's led to more accusations that Israel is using water as a weapon of war. I'm Cyril Vanier, and this is Pinch Point, where politics and geography collide. Now, I want to be clear here. The Israeli army says it didn't mean for this to happen. They're calling the deadly strike a malfunction. They say they were aiming somewhere else. But the strike killed kids anyway. And aid groups are questioning why people are being forced to put themselves at risk just to find water to drink. There's rarely been enough water to go around in Gaza, but even these taps are fast running dry. Fuel shortages and relentless bombing have shut down desalination and sanitation facilities. Collection centers are the last resort of the desperate. In July 2025, the UN humanitarian agency OCHA said Gaza's lack of clean water is having devastating impacts on public health. Even last year, Oxfam was saying Israel's cutting of external water supplies, systematic destruction of water facilities, and deliberate obstruction of aid reduced the amount of water available in Gaza by 94%, down to 4.7 liters a day per person. That's less than a single toilet flush. Oxfam says Israel has weaponized water. A number of aid organizations have gone much further. Accusations that Israel has committed acts of genocide have been made by a United Nations Commission of Inquiry, Doctors Without Borders, also known as Médecins Sans Frontières, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International. The International Court of Justice, or ICJ, has ordered Israel to prevent acts of genocide. In November 2024, the ICC issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense chief, Yoav Gallant, accusing them of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Israel's war on Gaza. A similar warrant against senior Hamas leaders Ismail Haniyeh, Yahya Sinwar, and Ibrahim al-Masri was withdrawn after their deaths.
I mean, people talk of ethnic cleansing. No, it's worse. It's worse. It's forced displacement. Is inciting to commit forced displacement, which is an international crime.
Sick children from Gaza are being driven to Jordan for care. Jordan hopes to treat 2,000 in all, a tiny number. And state-of-the-art Israeli hospitals are just a few kilometers away. This is the reality of Palestinians' struggle for survival in Gaza. They're thirsty, hungry, and desperate. On July 16th, at least 20 Palestinians were crushed at an aid distribution site run by the US and Israeli-backed GHF. A day earlier, the UN said that in 6 weeks, it had recorded the killing of at least 875 people who were close to aid sites and food convoys in Gaza. All were hungry. Many are too young to understand. But their bodies are testament to the growing crisis. Guns, bombs, and panic are killers. So is malnutrition. Israel's military campaign in Gaza has now killed 60,000 people, according to Palestinian health authorities. They say more than half of those killed were women and children. Almost everyone in Gaza has lost their homes, and now there's talk of an Israeli plan to forcibly displace hundreds of thousands of already uprooted Palestinians to a so-called humanitarian city. Critics have likened that zone to a concentration camp. In early August, Netanyahu reportedly came out of the meeting with senior security officials saying he wanted to escalate the war and fully occupy Gaza. Meanwhile, there's been a conspicuous lack of firm action from states around the world. The US is still selling Israel the weapons it's using against Palestinians. The European Union's top diplomat has described the situation in Gaza as catastrophic, but member countries can't agree on what to do. Amnesty International has called that inaction a cruel and unlawful betrayal of Palestinians. Not every government has stayed silent. Countries, including Colombia, South Africa, and Malaysia, met in July 2025 to condemn Israel's actions in the occupied Palestinian territories. They promised to implement legal and diplomatic measures to stop the killing.
We are beginning the process in which will be a massive wave of countries, of civil society organizations, of companies, of individuals, of all who cherish international law and justice to start taking practical steps in order to force Israel to stop the genocide against our people, especially in the Gaza Strip.
Canada and France have since said they will recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly in September. So too will the UK, unless Israel makes moves towards a ceasefire. Inside Israel, it isn't all going Benjamin Netanyahu's way either. He's facing protests from an increasingly war-weary population who don't think that he's doing enough to get back the remaining captives. But nearly 2 years after October 7th, Israel's war on Gaza goes on. And the Israeli military is still targeting vital infrastructure like water plants, as well as homes and places of worship. These people are the survivors of an Israeli strike on the only Catholic church in Gaza. Because the hospitals have been bomb damaged, they're being treated in a polytunnel, a snapshot of life in Gaza, if you can call it that.